And so that was when I started really cutting my teeth as a DJ, because when you get to like have a residency, you know, the good nights and the bad nights, like you start to really kind of understand how to program, build a set properly and cater to that.
Hey, I'm Graham Farmer, founder of the dance music magazine Data Transmission and Twitch partner, streaming on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays from 1 p.m. On this channel, we share the full interviews from my Twitch streams. But before we jump into this interview, if you can help this video get more reach by giving it a like and a comment, it'd be most appreciative. And don't forget to consider subscribing so you always get notified when we drop new interviews. Hey, Sam. How you doing, dude? Welcome to Twitch. Welcome to my channel.
Good morning. How you doing?
How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Thank you for getting up super early for us.
I wouldn't do it for many people, but for you, Graham, special treatment.
Yeah, welcome to my Twitch stream. You got coffee on the go? Great.
You've got, it looks very festive there too. Nice and sparkly behind you.
Yeah, so for those that have not been with our streams before, I stream from my shed in my garden. We started the streams, and this used to be the party shed in the bottom of the garden, and it's always been the disco shed. And then we kind of went to Twitch, and we were like, where are we going to stream? And basically, we were like, well, let's use the shed because it looks cool. And it's evolved over the years, but now, yeah, we stream from my shed. It's hilarious. All the setup stays here, and we've got, just a great thing. So before we get into questions, full intense questions, we do something fun here because it's lunchtime here in the UK. We love the meal deal. I know you're from the UK, so the kind of Tesco, Sainsbury's, you know, the kind of packaged sandwich, crisps, drinks. Do you, when you're here, have a go-to?
For the sandwich, I've always gone to Pret a Manger.
Nice.
And I like the egg salad, you know?
Yeah.
The egg mayonnaise.
And this time of year they have the Christmas one as well, which is absolutely they have the best Christmas.
Turkey and the stuffing.
Oh mate.
Yeah, that's nice. The thing is about the in England that you get in egg mayonnaise, they put cress, don't they? You know? It's very English to do that. But in America they don't do that.
So they don't.
Not that I have like, you know, a constant like need for cress in my life, but it's just one of those things that makes it more English than not.
Someone said fully expected you to goes to fulfill meal deals for a triple kill combo. Love it.
Is that an option? I'll take it. I do the full hit of the egg mayo, followed by the turkey stuffing, and then you got to go the chicken salad, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. Chicken salad is always good as well. I always had chicken salad when I had a hangover. It's always like chicken salad and quavers when I have a hangover, and that sort of brings me back to life a little bit.
I made it the other day. You got a roast chicken knocking around. It's the only thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeps it young.
Thanks for doing this, dude. I'm really excited for this.
Pleasure, mate.
It's so good to see you first and foremost. I know we used to do loads of stuff together. We've released records together. For those that don't know, you're a DJ, a producer. I know you from a DJ producer point of view, but also you're an actor. You've been doing some amazing stuff. So I just thought we'd start by, if you can just sort of tell us your kind of, I thought we'd start acting and then we'll go into Call of Duty, then we'll go into DJ producer, if that's cool.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I've been acting since I was a kid. Not professionally. I did it just for fun for so long. And then when I found out that you could do it for a job, you know, it was really the only thing I wanted to do. I'm from Southport near Liverpool. And, you know, there was a really amazing, it was just the years that I was growing up there was these amazing drama groups. You know, one of them was called Merry Go Round. Another one was was called Song. Anyway, but we were all like, you know, young kids just wanting to do stuff. And we had these teachers who were like, treated everybody like they were professional actors. And some people didn't like it because it was a bit too, you know, we were like really like gung ho about it. But of that kind of group at that time, which would have been, you know, I'm going to age myself here, but like, you know, the early 90s, you know, there was like so many professional actors that came out of that group, weirdly, in Southport, you know, in the northwest of England.
No way.
And but that was the beginning of it. And then I went to Hull University, and then I trained later at Bristol Old Vic. And then after that, I moved to London, and then that I was off to the races. Then, I had a good, I had a good, I mean, you can look up what I did, but I did lots of theatre for a while, and then I did my first movie, 2006, and then that kind of started a whole new section of my career, and then in 2011, I moved to America. Sorry, yeah, 2011, and then I've been here ever since.
Amazing. So you started when you were a kid? That's cool. Was you inspired from kind of movies, or was it just I'm just going to go and try it out?
I mean, I think initially, my parents and my grandparents used to take me to the theater all the time, but not even like the big stuff, like local amateur stuff, and then we used to go to Manchester and Liverpool, and then sometimes to London, and I thought it was magic. And yeah, of course, like everybody, you watch movies and you get transported by those as well. But really, I mean, it was really just something I was doing because I loved it. And then it turned into a job. So
amazing. And then you were in Harry Potter, wasn't you? A long way back. Did I read that?
Yeah. I was in the last, I was technically in the last two, but I was in the middle of another job when we were supposed to shoot the. There was the massive battle at the end of the final movie. Yeah. So my character was supposed to be throughout all of that as well, but I was doing a play at the time, and we couldn't figure out the logistics of. I would have had to come off stage. I was doing a play at the Leicester Curve at the time. I would have had to come off stage at like 11 o'clock at night, get in a car, be driven straight to set, go on set, work for the day, and then be driven back again to do a play at night. And everybody thought that was stupid, except me. I was up for it. But I love it. And then so yeah, I was all set to do both of the last two, and then it wound up only being the first one because scheduling just didn't work. But yeah, I did Harry Potter I worked on that thing for a year. Running around the forest with a wand.
That's so sick.
And it was great. It was at the time, it was the thing, it was the franchise that every British actor, wanted to be a part of. And so when I met for it, which was months and months before we did it, or before I got offered it even, it was really exciting because, it had already been going for 5 years, or, I was like, oh, that ship sailed then, and then, but that's how it goes, and then sometimes things come around, and I got my chance to be a part of it. So it was really special. I got to work with some really cool people, but it's funny, you work because they're so meticulous and it's so grand that a lot of people's experience of that job is that you work for a year and you're like this much of it,
No way.
But they have all the time and the resources to make it as good as it is, and it takes it, but it was a lot of fun. That was a good time.
And then after that, then you moved to America. What was the kind of thinking there? Was it to go after bigger stuff? And because you'd done that movie and then move bigger and bigger? I moved.
Yeah. I mean, my wife's American. So that was one reason why it was a question about whether I should come or not. And then because I'd done some work that had crossed over, there was a conversation starter. So I kind of I was coming out to America. At that point, I'd been coming out to America for many times a year for about 5 years. And so I already had some relationships here. And then I just decided, it's worth seeing how it goes, and seeing if I like it. I think that's a lot of the time, I wanted a new experience, really, is what it was. I wasn't really thinking in terms of like, oh, this will be a good business move, or this will be a good, I've never really kind of lived my life like that. I've always been like, what's the experience I want next? And so I've always loved America, and I've always loved the people of America, and I've always loved visiting, and I'd spent many years like going in and out of New York, and so that's where I first moved to. We lived in New York, and so yeah, I just sort of came and took a shot at it, and
Nice.
and then you again, like, and you never know what's going to happen or what's going to come your way, and but some great things did, and then it was, I've never come back, except to visit. But I'm, and it's, I miss, I miss all my family and friends, and from England, but life's pretty good here. So
I guess that's the joy of acting. I guess that's the joy of that profession. You get to jump in and jump out of experiences and jump out of challenges, and similar to DJing, you get to travel. You get to, that's the joy of it,
But I think that's the, that's the healthy life of an artist, in my opinion. I think, any artist, whether they're an actor or a painter or musician or DJ or whatever, nobody's good at just one thing. I've never met one. I've never met a single one of those people that's only good at that one thing, or that's their only way that they can be creative. And so, the best of those people are always pulling in new experiences and new ideas and new ways of doing what they do, and applying their talent. And I think that's the healthy way to be. And I think it's the most inspiring way to be. And I think it's where you'll find the kind of most interesting new things that you didn't know you were going to find. And so that's how I think about life too, is that, where's the new experience? And if it doesn't work, what's the worst that's going to happen? Go and do something else, So
nice, yeah.
So that's kind of how I came. It's kind of how I came to America, and it wasn't always easy, like it wasn't always like everybody wants you to do everything or whatever, but it wasn't really what it was about. Like it was, it was about the experience of being here, and then it's just kind of like sucked me in.
Nice. Seb Seabass says, was it hard adjusting to the time difference from moving from UK to America?
Yeah, really hard. And it's hard because, connecting with people. I mean, right, well, here's a good example. What time is it there, Graham?
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, 7:20 a.m. here. So I had to get up very early to be part of this, but that's the way it is. I think I think more and more people have to connect at different time zones now because of the way the world works. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's I'm always also traveling around all the time for work as well. So quite honestly, like there are times in the year when your body clock just doesn't ever settle.
Yeah.
And you're on what your body's in charge. But yeah, it can be hard. I do find it, you have to do the mental math all the time. Yeah. Of like, right, what time is it there right now? So I have on my phone, I have 7 different time zones of the people that I regularly talk to, so that I'm like, nice. Oh, right, what are they asleep right now?
Yeah. Nice. Here's a good one. I definitely would miss this as well. Surround Sound asks, do you miss HP Brown sauce?
Yeah. But here's the thing. I like, because the thing about HP Brown sauce, right, is that it's always there, isn't it? You go into a cafe, it's always there.
Yeah.
Now, whilst that's something to miss, in America, it's hot sauce is everywhere.
Oh my God.
And if you're in a good cafe, or anywhere a good diner, there's not just one, there's a choice of hot sauces. So that's nice. That's the replacement there, is that you get really awesome hot sauces here.
Right. So then you moved to America, then you did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's sick, dude. I saw that as well. I was like, I love that program.
that was a little bit later. But yeah, Agents of Shield. I was a Cree on that for a few episodes, and that meant that I had to arrive at set at like 4 a.m. and be painted blue every day.
Sick.
For a month. Yeah.
Sick. Some people see that as a chore, but I see that as, whoa, let's do that. I'm in for it.
Yeah, you should try it.
Is it tough?
It's long.
Okay.
It's long. But again, yeah, super cool. Like that was my first job after I moved to LA. Again, like it's really fun to like, you know, if you've ever visited LA, a lot of people go to like, you know, and do studio tours.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And it's pretty cool to walk on a lot because you have to be there. You know?
Nice.
The first time is cool. And that was my first time in LA. It wasn't, you know, not my first time on a set, but my first time on a Hollywood set, you know, because I was invited. So
nice. Gangster.
that was nice. But again, like, cause I was in New York for like 5 years before I moved to LA. So, you know, when my first job actually in America was on stage, like I was on Broadway, in a play. And then after that I did Turn, Washington Spies on AMC.
Nice.
That was a big TV show that ran for 4 years. So that was kind of the thing that put me on the map here, was that show. That was really, really special for other reasons, but yeah.
Becca says, I loved you in Turn. You are the best jerk.
Yeah, that's accurate.
And then Call of Duty. Let's talk Call of Duty. That's why we're here a little bit, and also music. But let's talk Call of Duty. When did this happen? Firstly, dude, congratulations. Like, we worked together for a bit before pandemic, and when our mutual friend Hobbs told me, I was like, holy shit, dude, that's wicked. So firstly, congratulations, mate.
Thank you.
How did it happen? When did it happen? Like, let's go into it.
Yeah, I mean, it was during the pandemic. We were all still kind of like hunkering down, and it came through like all, you know, in our business, you know, we used to go into rooms and audition for jobs, and now we don't. Now everything's done remotely, pretty much. Mm-hmm. You know, you film yourself on, you know, you record it and you send it. And so it came through like a regular audition, but with code names. So I didn't know, I did know what it was, but I didn't know who I was auditioning for initially.
Wow.
And so it was all very hush hush. But, you know, the audition was like a long monologue, the first one. And it was, you know, I could tell from the writing, because the writing on this, I was about to say this show, because it feels like a movie or any other TV show that I've done. It doesn't really feel like game specific in terms of the writing. The writing is better than many of the things I've done and as good as the best things I've done. Like, it's really, really good stuff. And so the writing, I could tell from the writing that, you know, the kind of ballpark of the character. So I kind of just did my thing with that and didn't really think, I wasn't really thinking about Ghost when I auditioned per se. I didn't know that I was auditioning for Ghost initially anyway. And then, so I did send off this monologue. And then I knew, like shortly after that, I knew that they liked it and they wanted to do another meeting. And then, so I did the second time we did a live audition. But, you know, remotely, and everybody was on. So like, the head of all creative for Call of Duty, Brian Bloom, was on there. Jeff Nagus, the director, was on there. The producer, Graham Hagmeyer, was on there, from Infinity Ward. And, we kind of went through that. There was new material for that. So then for the second audition we did, you know, a couple of new scenes, and then we did some improv as well. Like we did some stuff like, you know, as if we were in the studio doing performance capture.
Nice.
Except, you know, I was in my home studio doing it. So
Cool.
and yeah, and then it took a little while, and then I found out that I got it, and then I found out who it was.
Sick.
Yeah, like there's, it's really, really exciting, obviously, because I wanted to do it really because the writing was so good.
Yeah.
Like I didn't ever think as an actor sort of coming into the business in the beginning of the 2000s, right? I wasn't thinking about video games as like, something that I would, dream of doing, right?
Yeah.
But the writing was, when this came through, and it was like the writing is so good. I was like, that's really all that I care about is what's the right, what's the story, what's the writing. So the writing was amazing, and then when it all kicked off, and we got going on it, I found out that it was, one of my favorite jobs I've ever done. It's just such a creative environment, and you're not really quite honestly, like I was aware of the legacy of Ghost, the character, but we were doing something brand new with him. So, I wasn't pressured by it. And the environment in which you make the game is very small in terms of, the people you see every day. And the focus of it is it's very quiet in a way. Like you're kind of in the studio with just the same 20 people making this thing and not aware of the hundreds of people that are really making it, right?
Yeah.
The engine of the game is what makes we kind of put the dressing on, but it really isn't until it comes out that you become aware of the monster that it is. Which is healthy, because if you were thinking about that while you were doing it, it could get in your head a little bit. But it didn't for me. I just was having a great time doing it, So
that's amazing. I guess if you were thinking about it all the time, it would definitely affect performance. And so there's some lovely comments, by the way, dudes. Lone Ghostwall said you did an absolutely great job in the portrayal, but somebody else says something absolutely lovely. I'll find it in a minute. How does it feel filling the boots of such an iconic role?
Really cool. Like yeah, to be honest, like I don't spend my time like looking online for a lot of things. Funny, like I don't like. When I got the job, like I obviously like made a point to educate myself on everything that had happened to this character on the screen of the video game, right? That's just like good due diligence. But I wasn't that, for me, like, because I knew that Brian and the team wanted to, write this character a little differently than they had before. That there's a point where that's not helpful anymore, right? And that's not, that you have to concentrate on the present and what's in front of you. So again, like I wasn't thinking about, when I was doing the job, I wasn't thinking I was playing an iconic character. I was thinking about this human being and bringing that human being to life, and with the qualities that they have. Also navigating a headset and a skin tight suit and a fake gun. So it's all of that, but you know what I mean? But like, I'm not like thinking about this iconic character. And like I said, so the point is, like, when it comes out and when this huge operation starts moving and the attention comes on it, for me at least, because I don't spend my time looking for that stuff, it was really fun to see it come out. It was really enjoyable. And I wasn't really nervous about what people were going to think about it either. I was really proud of what we'd done anyway. And I knew that we'd done good work. And I was hopeful that the fans, of which there are millions who love it, were going to have a really great time playing the game. But that in a way, like, there's only so much of that is reliant on what we're doing. but it all came together. And it was so satisfying to see it land and see people having an amazing time playing it, but also to have connected in a new way with the character. And so I'm really proud of where we've brought him, and I'm really like excited for, you know, what that means for the fans, because now they've, you know, I think they can really get their teeth into this character in a new way. So I'm excited about how it's all rolled out, and it feels really good. It feels really satisfying.
I found that question. So Marcy asked, what was your approach on getting in the mindset of Ghosts? Because as someone that grew up on it, she said you did an amazing job and she loved what you did. Oh, cheers, Marcy.
Thank you. I don't know, like some of that drifts into like private work, I think, that is for me. You know, it's really like any other character is like, you know, what are their needs and what do they want? And that's on a macro level and a micro level, right? So like, you know, what are they doing in the world? Like, and what's right in front of them, and what do they need and want in that moment? And once you understand the way the human being thinks about the world and their perspective, and you understand, you know, you then understand how they might react in any given situation. So amazing. That's kind of as much as I want to say about that.
Cool. Yeah. How someone else asked how long did it take to make it? Because someone was asking about the filming. How long did it take? How long were you doing it for? Did you shoot in the US?
Yeah, so the team have been making it for, I mean, I think it's like 3 years of work, but the part with us when we come in was a little over a year.
Okay, cool.
And we do it in LA. Yeah. We did a studio in LA. Yeah, all in person. Even the voiceover sessions actually are all in person. Yeah.
Well, let's say hello to some people. We've got loads of people watching, dude. It's fucking mental. Loads of really nice comments. How the hell does it says? Orsia Live, you're such an inspirational man, Sam. You're one of my favorite characters. Keep going because you have a talent to be most popular actor. Aw.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Can you see the chat as well, dude, on your screen?
I can't see it, so I'm just listening to you pop things out. But that's a very nice thing to say. Thank you.
Bleeding Eyes, Sam, you made an excellent job of Ghost. Fans love your performance, especially from the female part of the fandom. Are you going to plan to stream in the future and play with the fans on COD?
You like playing the game?
Yeah, I think that's what they mean.
I think I'm much better in it than playing it. Yeah, and that's I don't see that in my future, no. But I mean, I watch people. I have played it, and I'm not the greatest. And I I've watched. I honestly, I prefer watching really good people play it.
Yeah,
you know, and like, you know. But I mean, I do. If I had more time, I might get better at it. But I'll never be good enough. I'd never be good enough to stream myself playing it. That's a bad idea. I'll leave that to the pros.
Mate,
There's too many good people out there. No one needs me doing that.
My daughter's just started playing games, and oh my days, she sits there and she's like, "Come on, Dad," and I'm like, "Oh crap, what have I got?" And she's like, "You're dying again," and I'm like, "Yep, I'm dying again. Brilliant." I'm terrible at it. I'm better at social media and talking.
Yeah, growing up, we had a Nintendo 64, and we had
sick.
We had a Sega Mega Drive. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
And the games that I played growing up that I cared about were GoldenEye.
Yes.
Do you remember that one?
We played that at university so much, ridiculous amounts.
Yeah, and you could play. That was the first game that I was aware of where you could play with multiple people at the same time.
Yep.
And so that was, and then the other one was FIFA.
Yeah.
And I've played probably every single version of that game. Now, I used to think I was really good at FIFA because I was playing. I was playing it for hours and hours and hours, right?
Yeah.
And then I would play with other people and find out that I wasn't as good as I thought I was. Right?
Which team did you play as?
Everton, always.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, and that's why you weren't very good. Yeah, I get it.
No.
I know who.
No, it answers somebody else's question from earlier. They said, "Is he a Liverpool fan or an Everton fan?" And I kind of that's why I threw that in there because I spotted it right back at the start, and I was like, That's why I kind of threw it in there.
But that's so. I've realized that I might be good at a lot of things, but pro gaming is never going to be one of them.
What's the first system you ever had? What was the first games you ever played? Was it consoles? Or did
we had a BBC computer, and so we would do
we had those at school.
Remember those? And it was like one of those first computers that every family could get,
Yeah.
And so we had, we would play all like Pac-Man and the thing with the bouncing ball and those were the first games that I was playing, and you would get obsessed with them. And then and then we had a Game Boy, so you'd play Tetris and all those, and was it Donkey Kong was another one, or those kinds of things.
You were down that route.
Yeah, so there was all that.
I had the Commodore Amiga. And we used to play Sensible Soccer, and that was the one I was playing.
Yeah, one of those as well. Yeah, Sensible Soccer, was that the one where you could do? Oh, what was the one? Football Manager.
Yeah, that was the one, mate. I played that fucking to death all day, every day for death. Oh my days.
So I've got a good story about Football Manager. So my brother actually he's an IT consultant for a living. So he's gone and taken computers and made a life out of it. Now, he used to play Football Manager. He was the good gamer in our house, but he was the smart gamer. Like, he was a thinker too, and he was killing it on Football Manager. But we only had one computer, obviously, at that time, and so everybody wanted their go on the computer. And the thing with my brother is that whenever I would say, like, I want to play on the computer now, right? He would say, yeah, 5 minutes, and then it would be like 10, and you'd be like, hey, come on, I want to play. And it would go on and on like this, right? And then eventually, like, he was like, I'm just finishing, I'm just saving it because you had to save it. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Right. And there was one time where it had gone on for too long, and I was just too annoyed about it, and so I just yanked the plug on the computer.
Oh my gosh!
Before he'd saved it.
I definitely did that to my brother a few times as well.
Yeah, I think I got a slap around the head that day. I deserved it.
Yeah. So it was filmed, and then how long from filming to coming out did it happen? And then, like, what was that kind of when it all got unveiled? How's that life been? Like, I guess mental.
Yeah, it's been. We were actually finishing it right up until it came out. It's different, and when you do a movie, you have a shooting period, and then there's an editing period, and then there's not normally, but sometimes there's some like reshoots where you have to pick up a couple of scenes, but that's very expensive to do. So typically they will try and make the movie with what they have in the can.
Yeah.
And then it gets finished off, and then it comes out. But with the game, it's constantly evolving all the way. Even after the rollout, right? There's new versions of the game like Warzone and there's new I forget what it's called, but there's a new version now with like a separate mission that you can do, and that's just come out, which is a new thing. And then so some of it keeps evolving. So we were doing it. We were still kind of putting finishing touches and new voiceover that they'd missed and that kind of thing right up until it came out. Really like 3 weeks before it came out, we kind of finished the last kind of just the little tweaks, But but they're editing the whole time, and the whole thing is being kind of made to look beautiful, but like very early on. Like, so we every time we would come in and and shoot something, we would sometimes have a little watching session where we would see where they were up to.
That's cool.
So, but it's like it's hard to process the amount of work and dedication that goes into making this thing. It's the amount of people. We had a party last week in LA to celebrate the launch of the game, which Infinity Ward, which is the production company that made the game, through. And there were hundreds of people there that I've never met before.
Wow.
And they were like, oh, I did this mission and I did this mission and I do this on that mission. And so, everybody's working right up into the wire. And then the rollout has been, to me, like when I started seeing my face, on like the Arc de Triomphe and,
wow.
in Piccadilly Circus and all that, like it's bananas, but I, at the same time, like it's just kind of not in my nature to go looking for it. So for me, it's only been positive. I don't find the negative comments and reviews, and because I'm not looking for it. People send me the meme, like is it the ghost meme, and that's been really hilarious to me.
I saw some people talking about this meme in the chat, so I'm going to go and look that up after and see what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you mentioned it.
So I saw the other day that like Snoop Dogg had used it and posted it, and I mean that stuff's just kind of hilarious to me. And it's a sign that people, all of that stuff, even when it's like, close to the bone or whatever, like for me, like that's a sign that people are responding and engaging, and I think it's really cool. I really don't like, I don't mind watching my work, and I don't mind hearing about what people think about it, but I don't go looking for it. So if you don't go looking for it, you don't typically come across anything that isn't very nice. So it's been a really kind of enjoyable experience so far.
A few people are asking this in the chat. Bella Donna Morte, I see you asking it as well. Welcome in, by the way. Welcome to our chat. Welcome to the show. Asking about the filming and kind of creation. How is that working? Does it motion capture? You mentioned earlier about a suit and kind of how did that? Can we go logistics into that?
So when people ask me about it, the way I describe it is like it shoots really like any movie, less like a TV show because there's more time to do stuff. Mm-hmm. You're not trying, and when you're on TV, like the amount of content that you need to get in the can in a short space of time means that you do a lot more in a day than you do on a movie. Because you're only making 2 hours of work versus 20 hours or 13 hours of work or whatever. Right? So you have more time to do stuff, and so Call of Duty, I would say, like films, on a schedule that's more like a movie in a day. You just do a couple of scenes a day, but it's and I mention it's like a movie because it doesn't feel any different to making a movie, apart from the fact that you're in a very tight suit, which looks exactly the same as the person's next to you.
How was that, dude? How was that, dude?
Pleasant.
Did we have to do a lot of exercise beforehand, and do we spend a lot of time in the gym?
No, because they can draw anything out that they want.
Right, good.
They can make you bigger or smaller.
Great.
So and then you have a helmet on, which is about like $100,000 worth of equipment on your head with like a couple of cameras on it and lights and I would say that's like the weirdest part for an actor is that if you're having like an intimate moment with another character, you have like cameras that are like this. I'm trying to do this on the frame, like this far in front of your face. Yeah. So you can only get as close as your camera, and you can't clash cameras, right? They're filming your face, by the way, these cameras, right? You can't clash cameras. So there's a little bit of kind of dancing that goes on to make that work. But in terms of the actual making of it, it works like a shooting day. You rehearse, you discuss, you rehearse, and you get it to a point where everybody's happy-ish. And then you start rolling camera and you just keep going until it's done. But it's like, it's pretty similar in that way.
Did you have a favorite scene to shoot? Someone asked. I saw that in the questions. Let me just do a scroll back. See who asked that.
I wouldn't say that there was a favorite, but there was some scenes that I remember finishing and thinking, that that could be a big moment in this, like, so I think, where, Ghost has been, is famously like a lone ranger. He's like, he operates on his own, honor code. And so for him to say no one fights alone, like that was a big moment, I think, for him. And when we did that scene, like, and we landed it, I think we all thought that's a pretty cool moment for the character and the story arc, And then the other the other scene that that was very clearly a big moment and kind of affected everybody was when the 1-4-1 are together, now with Alejandro and Rodolfo, and Ghost takes off his mask, right? And his team get to see his face for the first time in we don't know how long. It's a big moment, and Price acknowledges it. And I think, like, going into those scenes that they're like big moments. You don't play them any differently. They're just the things that happen in the story, but they're satisfying to do because going in that it's a big story moment. And when you feel like you've kind of captured it, you've caught those butterflies, it feels really good afterwards. And then you forget about it because you're on to the next thing. And then later, when the thing came out, this is what's been fun about the rollout of the game, is that you start to see people's reaction to those moments. And then them taking that story, the fans taking that part of the story and then processing that themselves and having their own feelings about what that means, in the context of how they view these characters and the story that the journey that they've been going on following these characters for so long. And that's for us, like, to sit back and see that play out. That's the reason we do it, right? That's the whole point of doing anything like this, is that it kind of captures the imagination of the fans that love it. So but I would say those two scenes stand out for me. But there was some other ones as well, but like, yeah, those are the two.
Dude, they just sent the chat a mentor. I'm just going, while you have a quick sip of the old coffee, I'm going to Colette Shapper. Good. So that was iconic scene. Valente. That was my favorite scene. Levi Unleashed. Ghost taking off his marks was his favorite scene. Favery. The character development was so subtle but impactful. So awesome to see it happening on screen. Marcy again, amazing. Thank you, Marcy. Thanks for being part of this. Kool-Aid. How did you feel when you found out you got the role?
I was really excited. Yeah, I was about to go off on a camping trip, and I was in the middle of packing the car. So it was. And if you've ever packed a car for a camping trip, you know that it's not the calmest thing you'll ever. Yeah, and also you're going off into the woods, so you're also panicking that you don't have enough. You always have more than you need to survive, but it always feels like you don't. So it was a great distraction nice. To get that phone call, but it felt great. Look, it's I think. I've been very, very fortunate that there's been a few phone calls like that in my career. And I think you have to just stop, I think, and just kind of like enjoy it. And high-fived with the wife.
Nice. I saw someone said, Callistra, do you have any advice for beginning voice actors?
Do I have any advice? Not off the top of my head. I don't actually. I don't know. I would say, but I'm just thinking on the fly. I would for voiceover. I'd be like, start recording yourself a lot and start listening. Like pulse. My advice would be like to get to know your instrument. I guess like start. If you're just beginning, then I would say you want to get used to recording and hearing what it sounds like and finding out whether what you think you're doing is what you're hearing. But but I don't know whether the question was about how to get jobs or whether it was about the technique or whatever. But I'm always like, my main advice for anybody getting into this business, and I think it applies to all of whatever your art form is like, do it for you, like have fun, It should be fun, right?
Hmm.
And so like at the beginning, like when it's not a job, you have to keep doing it because you love it and because it's fun to do. And if you're not having fun doing it, then something's not right. I mean, I can confidently say that, I get excited about every single day I go to a set to do anything, every single one, even on the days I'm not feeling great. It's like, it's, I don't know, it's what I'm here to do. So like, I love it. And so you have to keep, it's too difficult a business to not love it. So I just keep having fun is always my first. That's the top of the list.
Nice. Someone said, "Oh my God, please ask if he thinks Ghost would listen to the music he makes, if Ghost would listen to house music." Told you, banging.
Yeah. I do. I mean, yeah, I think so. I think dance music lends itself extremely well to the military mindset.
There you go. The silent nod. Everyone's laughing. Amazing. So let's talk DJ and producing. We talk. I met you because you're a DJ producer. I know you because you put a record out, which we premiered on Data Transmission with our good friend Hobbs, called Game Plan. And I thought, we're going to listen to some tracks. We'll talk through some music. But tell us when you started DJing, how you got into DJing, when you got into house music. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, great. So my brothers were into like the early 90s dance music scene in England. And I grew up near Liverpool. And every weekend, as you know, I became aware at one point that my brother would disappear in a transit van with a friend up and down motorways. Amazing. Right, in England, right, at the weekends. And then he would come back, not really be able to talk to anybody for a bit. And he would have a new cassette tape with him every weekend, right? And this is like the thriving acid house scene, basically, right? The early days of like raving, not the early days, but like, the sort of like the beating heart is up and running already, That was my introduction to dance music. And at that time I was like 11 or 12, right?
Yeah.
And so I was trying to listen. And then when he was out, I would nick the cassette tapes and start listening. And it just like blew my mind, all of this music. And I was like, I didn't even know what I was listening to, but I found it really emotional. Like it was changing my feelings. And that was my the introduction to it. And then it turned out that the guy that he was going up and down the motorway with was a DJ, and they were like super close friends of ours. And then and then in their garage in Southport, the Davises, they were Adam Davis and Barnett Davis. Barnett's still a DJ. Actually, he's really one of the best DJs I know. But anyway, they had a garage and it was just wall to wall records everywhere and 2 Technics turntables and a mixer. Nice. From about the age of like 12 or 13, like we used to just hang out there anytime we could. And then I wasn't allowed on the decks until I was like 14. And then I started to, when they would go out, I would go on, and then that was how it all started for me. And, and we were lucky because we were growing up in an area that was like so rich. Like, we had Cream, we had the Hacienda and all the clubs in between, and England is, one of the things about moving to America is you realize how small England is. Right. And how, but I mean that in like just geographically, how easy it is to in a night, which is why DJs have always done it. You can play a gig in Liverpool and then also play a gig in Scotland or Manchester on the same night, And so, but that was what clubbing was like. You could also like, go anywhere on any weekend. So by the time I was like, so I started DJing when I was 14. I wasn't really playing out to anybody until I was like 15, probably 16. But like, we were playing on the decks all the time and getting good. And that was the beginning of it for me. And then it was really just through the love of the music. And then when I was 15 was when I first went to Cream in Liverpool. So like well underage. And of course, you can imagine, but I was like a tall kid, so I could get away with it. And, and you can imagine for a 15-year-old being in a in that rave environment in the 90s Cream was like a church, man. It was like we were just there as often as we could get there, and saw some like the best of the best DJs coming through that club. Everybody played there.
Yeah.
And so that was the beginning of it. And I was just a raver. Like I just was there loving, just there for the music, pure and simple. And then I started going to Ibiza when I was a bit older. And by then I would say like, by the time I started going to Ibiza when I was like 17, by then I was like, I'd say that I was like getting pretty good at DJing. And then when I went to university, like then I really started playing out a lot. And when I was at university, a few of our friends, like we started a night called Fluid.
Nice.
This was in Hull. And we started
is that
in this
where you
like,
went to uni?
Yeah. And we were at this little club. It was like a 1-room club in like a residential area. And we just like packed it out and it was mental. And then I remember being home in Southport during the summer. And one of my friends who was like really the promoter of that night, he said, "You're not going to believe this, but we've got our own night at the Room in Hull." Now, the Room was like the Cream of Hull, like not on the same scale, but like that was the Room was like the club in Hull. And they had a second room and we got a night in there. And so that for like a year and a half, like every week, every Wednesday, like we had this night at this club, a proper club. And so that was when I started really cutting my teeth as a DJ, because when you get to like have a residency, the good nights and the bad nights, like you start to really kind of understand how to like, program, like, how to like build a set properly and cater to that. So that was when I really started getting into it. And started to feel like I was kind of seriously understanding what that job was. And then, but then I was really of a mindset that I was going to be an actor. So, that was really where my focus was, but the music never ever stopped. Like, and when I moved to Bristol, like the decks always came with me. And I would like, like whenever there was a party, like I would DJ and we would throw parties and then when I moved to London again, like I would actually do gigs all around London. I used to do warehouse parties and that kind of a thing. But again, like it's what I was talking about before. Like for me, like in my mind, like my job was going to be, I was going to be an actor. Like if it all worked out, that was the plan. And I was doing this stuff and playing to quite a lot of people sometimes, but I wasn't doing it for money. People would pay me here and there, but like, it wasn't for that. It was because I just loved music. And so that was my experience. And then, so I would just keep doing it. Like I would just do gigs here and there.
Nice.
And even like I spent a lot of time at the National Theatre in London. Like I did like quite a lot of plays there. And after like, I was like, well, everybody likes to party after the show. So at the National Theatre in London, I got them to set up a couple of Technics decks after the show, and then I would DJ after the show.
What the fuck?
So we'd do like a Shakespeare play, and then like I'd add my record box, and I'd come and bring it up to the bar, and then I'd DJ at the National. And that was just something I did, like, and no pressure, like just for fun. We were friends, but like, that was the thing.
Nice.
It was always there, Nice. And then when I moved to America, and then like along the way, like I was always like making little bits of music, but I didn't really have a door. Like I didn't understand what I was doing, but I used to like, I used to record I used to record like Steve Lawler, who's like a friend now and a close, an even closer friend of my brother's. He would always start his sets in a really dramatic way. Like he would always like have like weird noises, and then he'd like the tribal loops would come in, like all of this like amazing percussion, and then it would like build and build and build. And I was always really inspired by that. So then I was like, I started to make my own acapellas, like just spoken word that I would then
sick.
like. So then I would like, and I would record them on CDs so that when I DJ'd, I would like stick it in the CD deck and I'd find some rumbling noise or like play a record really slow. So it would just like rumble. And then I would play this acapella over the top. There was no effects. So you couldn't do any of that. And then, but then eventually, you know, and then you would like start bringing in the other stuff and get creative with it. So it was another creative outlet for me. But that was my version of making music. I didn't really know anything about that side of it until later. And then, you know, and then I got fully like, and then I was working, right? So then I was doing acting jobs and that was my main focus. And the music was still there, but it wasn't like the main kind of feature of my life. And then much later, so that was kind of the way it always was. It was just always like, I'd do this thing here or this thing there. And then much later in 2013, so I wrote a short film, which I wrote and produced directed a short film called The Break about a DJ in New York. We have a slight licensing issue with one piece of music, which is why it's not online yet. But when we figure that out, we will get it out there. And so it's about a DJ getting his break in New York. And actually, the music in that, a lot of the other music. So I mixed all the music for the film, and so whenever he's DJing, that's me doing it, even though I'm not playing it. But Steve Lawler was kind enough to let us use a lot of Viva tracks in the movie. Cool. So there's a lot of really amazing music in there. And anyway, I thought it would be cool when we put this film in festivals, and we won some awards at festivals as well. But I thought it'd be cool, like when we put the film in festivals, to have a pop-up nightclub as part of this thing. So, and the club in the movie is called Voltage. And so I made a pop-up nightclub called Voltage. Nice. And I was filming in Richmond, Virginia at the time. And I was like, well, this is where the first party is going to be, is in Richmond. So I connected with the Party Liberation Foundation, and they're like a burner crew, like a big party crew. Yeah. And we got this thing going, and we were in this warehouse and had like 500 people come through, and it kicked off. And so then I got a call from a guy in DC, which is like, an hour, 2 hours down the road. He said, will you come and do the party in DC? And I was like, yeah.
Cool.
So then it all started coming back to me. And then I started connecting with other DJs and what have you. And then I just started, and then I started playing at a club called Flash in DC, which is like an amazing underground. Well, it's not an underground, but it's like an amazing house club in DC. And I would start playing there pretty regularly. And then it just started building again without me really trying. And then later that year, which was after I'd moved to LA and started meeting some really cool people through that. And then that summer found a way to go and do a retreat in Ibiza. And that was, by then I was producing like more seriously. Like I hadn't released anything, but I started like working on stuff. And I met Matt Hobbs through that retreat. And we became really, really close friends and started working together on some music. And we made, that summer, we made 3 tracks, one of which got signed to Dawley's label, Reptile Dysfunction, Game Plan, and the other 2 we signed to Black Soul Music. But the Game Plan really kicked off. Like it just kind of hit a spot, and Marco Carola was playing it everywhere, and loads of big DJs were playing it. That kind of really kind of was the beginning of me making a lot of music. Some of which, one of which you released and what have you. But like that's been the story, and and like whenever I can get in the studio and make stuff, I can. Like we keep going. I just want to talk about like Hobbs. So Hobbs, who I made Game Plan with. This is another like example of what I was talking about before, because I know there's a lot of like producers at different parts of their journey. The way that I met Hobbs, just by saying yes to some opportunities that might not have made much sense, that didn't have an end game, right? And I think like this is the artist's way, is that you have to say yes more than you say no, right? And you have to just like sometimes, an opportunity comes and you're like, yeah, sure, okay. Like just by kind of like looking to connect with other musicians led me to finding my way to Ibiza, really just kind of, which was to like connect with other artists and other DJs and other producers and learn. Like I've always felt like a beginner in everything. Like you always, I think any artist will be lying if they feel like they're an expert at any time. Like, like you're always feeling like you're a beginner and can learn more. So just by kind of like you're saying yes to this and yes to that, found us in a place together where two artists like connected and started making something without any kind of like end game, just like, let's make music. And then it turned out, and then we had like a hit on our hands. And now Hobbs is a co-owner of Reptile Dysfunction, that label that we signed that track to. And he could have, he could have never have planned that for himself, but his like, he went from, Hobbs has gone from being one of the best producers that I know who was doing other things to now having a life of music and a life, revolving around helping other people make music and making his own music and running an incredible label or two. Like he's that I think like that story is really amazing. If you don't know who Hobbs UK is, you should check him out. He's not only got like an amazing catalog of music, but he's also like, his story is really interesting because he's also like been on his own path. And I think that's really interesting is like how you connect with people that you didn't know you were going to connect with. I think like that's our business as well. And like, and in the music industry, like, like one of my good friends is Bontan, right?
Yeah, nice.
Who's like an incredible artist. And, we're from Southport, both of us, and never knew each other in Southport and met in LA. We met in Los Angeles. And then like after we met in Los Angeles, which was actually, I met him once at a gig he was playing. And then I met him when he was with Youssef, because I was meeting Youssef. And then we just kind of like connected. And then again, like that's become like a bigger friendship now. But I'm also like a huge fan. Like I'm a huge fan of a lot of my friends' work. Like I would go and see Bontan because like if I didn't know him, because like he's like, I just love him. And I think it's important to like, that's another thing. Like, I think it's really important to get behind your friends' work, your other friends' work, like to spend as much time putting effort into your friends' work as it is your own sometimes. Like you're obviously like you're creating, right? That's one thing. But another kind of inspiration for creation is putting some attention on other work that isn't yours. And so like Hobbs is a great example of that. Like I ping everything back to him and vice versa. And we're always sharing stuff. And I think what you do is like really good for that, right? Because that's what this is. That's what this group does, is it's like constantly work.
It's strange because I as you know, I've also made a track with Hobbs, and we've both done that kind of, we both put one out with him, and he is, I agree with you, he's an amazing producer, and it knows so much stuff. It's unbelievable. Should we play that track you made with Hobbs? Should we play Game Plan? Should we listen to some music?
Play it.
Let's go. we go. So that was Game Plan, which you made with Hobbs, which came out on Reptile Dysfunction. That was absolutely mega. I love that. Still love that track.
I love it too. I remember like when we wrote the brass section of that track still, and then when we kind of like found its spot in there, it's like it's still really satisfying. By the way, if you want to work with Hobbs, he's doing a retreat, Orbit. It's called Orbit Retreat. Is it Orbits or Orbit?
Yeah, it's Orbit DJ Retreat. It's on in Ibiza next summer, next October. I'm on that retreat as well.
And like Sam Devine's on it, and Gorp and Houseworks. Like, I mean, it's the Dawley, obviously, because you know it's his thing. But like, it's that's like I can't recommend things like that enough. Like. You know, like even the reason why all of you guys and why people like Sam Divine, and they're not there because of the money, right? They're not there to like earn money. They're there because being together with other artists in a safe space where you can fail safely and like always breeds good stuff. And it's about like if you can make it happen, go and do something like that. And even if it's not that, do something. That's my advice. Like, just be around other artists and see what happens. You don't even have to do anything. You just have to be there. Something will happen.
Yeah, Loz has just dropped the link in the chat. I'm on that retreat as well. I did it this year, and it's excellent. Basically, we all land in one hotel in one place in Ibiza, and there's DJing, there's production, there's social stuff. It's such good fun, and some of the music that comes out of it is amazing and gets signed, and yeah, it's great fun.
It's inspiring.
It is. Loads of good comments about the first track, like Coolio. This is a good song. This is so good. Colette vibing hard. Goes good vibes all round. This is lovely. Levi Unleashed. Felente, we're vibing. Twitch would eat this up, they say. They definitely want you to DJ on Twitch, dude. All
right, we'll make it happen.
That'd be fun. We can do it. This stream is so cozy and welcoming. Well, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So we've been making. Do you want to play another track? Where we want to go next? Because you sent me so much music. And you mentioned you want to play. What's the next one that came out after Game Plan?
I'd say like a cool one for me was like I've moved around a lot, and I think like you know one of the hard things when you move to a new place is like plugging into the scene there. Like as a musician or just as an artist in general, like people like to work with who they know. So I've always like whenever I've moved somewhere, like made an effort to connect with the local crews and whatever. So the first track when I moved to LA for about 6 months or a year, I was just going to parties and just like checking out the scene and finding out what the vibe was. And then a label came on my radar called Understated. And that label wound up was the first LA label to sign a track of mine. So that was Walk With Me. And then later on, then I like really became part of their collective and started DJing at their parties. And then I also had a podcast in LA called LA Underground.
I remember
pre-pandemic. Yeah. And, used to interview like cool talent on that. And then it was, play new music and what have you. And then later on we combined forces and it became the podcast for Understated, the label. So then we did that for a while too. Anyway, so they're a really special group of people. That the guys and girls on that label. So Walk With Me was the track that they first signed of mine. So that's kind of probably a good one to play next.
Let's play this next. Walk With Me.
Walk With Me.
we go. That was Walk Me, and was that you on the vocal?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I have a whole like in the notes section of my phone. Like I have a folder of lines, ideas for all sorts of things. Like, and so I just dug into that, and there was this whole like take a walk kind of thing, and just recorded it and started playing with it. I don't know. Sometimes it's just like, it starts with just like one idea from, it could be anything, but that all came from that vocal idea on that. Yeah.
And one thing I was thinking, since you announced the Call of Duty role, has gamer DJ producers that have come out of the woods and gone, hey, how you doing? And have you made new connections from the game and the kind of new DJ crossover?
I think so. Yeah. I think like, I think a lot of musicians also like to game. So I've connected with a couple of people who maybe didn't know what I was up to before and now do because of the Call of Duty attention. And that's pretty cool. Like, I think, I've never really kind of considered myself to be just one thing. I see myself as an artist and I move in different spaces in that way. And I think, like I said before, I find that every artist I know that does more than one thing and does different things, like it works in different media and different art forms. And so it's pretty cool. The crossover is really interesting and also not surprising. Like, you know what I mean? Like, cause I think people, artists tend to do lots of different things, but it is pretty cool when you do one thing that kind of draws people from somewhere else. And so, yeah, it's pretty fun that.
How's the balancing act between music and acting? How's that work for you?
It's good. Like, I mean, it's good. Like it's an how many hours are in the day situation, right? But, I find music to be like particularly cool because it's something you can do without anybody else, right? You can, like, you can't act on your own. Like that's kind of like it's a storytelling, right? So and storytelling demands that you have a listener, right? In some way, but music, you can squirrel away on music on your own whenever you want, whenever you can grab some time. So that's how the music for me is not something I'm necessarily doing with an end in mind. It's like it's another part of my creative process, or another outlet for my creative like self. And then when I finish something that I'm proud of, then I'll try and put it out and share it and have someone sign it and release it and all that kind of thing. Yeah. And I love playing music to people. I love dance music and the purpose of it. And I think that moving with other people to music is a primal need. And I think like that's something that I love doing as well. But so for me, like, again, it's like I do it because I love it. I love the music and I love why it exists and the reason it exists and how it brings people together. The management at the time is the hard thing because, gratefully, I'm so busy. I've always got a laptop with me. Like, I was traveling just last week and I made half a track between the gate waiting for the plane. And then I used the whole time on the plane. And then when I got to the hotel, I had to like sort my levels out because obviously I've been making music to the sound of a plane. So it doesn't sound like nothing was fitting where it was supposed to, but the idea was there, So that's you can make the happen. And I think like that's the cool thing about electronic music is that you can make it really on the fly wherever you are. Like I have friends that are, like I have a friend that's a classical pianist and I have a friend that's like a singer songwriter, and they like, they can't do that on a plane, No. But electronic producers can.
I saw a Call of Duty question, which I'm intrigued by as well. Dr. Crowley TV, were you able to keep the mask? And I saw one earlier as well. And did you wear it for Halloween?
I was Chewbacca for Halloween.
Right. Were you able to keep the ghost mask? That's the question.
No, I don't. There are only there are 2 masks
Right.
in existence, and as far as I'm aware, Activision have them. Also, when we're making the game, of course, you don't need the mask isn't on because that's stuff they do afterwards. But there are two real masks that are incredible, and I do not have them.
And then a producer question: what door are you using? Let's go the other way. Let's go the other. Ableton. There you go. Okay, more music. You've made we got some brand new music.
Yeah,
I feel like it's an exclusive, dude. I feel like we've got an exclusive.
It is an exclusive. Yeah,
yes!
It's and it's not finished. It's not finished, but it's you know, I thought it'd be fun to kind of showcase what I'm working on right now. I've got a few. I've been squirreling away, and I've got like a bunch of stuff that's like almost out the door. But this is I don't know. I was working on this just this week, so I thought it'd be fun to sort of play something to show where I'm at, you know, musically.
Cool. Tell me about this track.
Yeah, I wanted to make something that was really percussive, like at its core, like to really work around rhythms, but also to make something that had like a lot of pump to it. I started with all the percussion, like, and I just started, I just got into drum kits and started like building from there. And then I found a shaker that I really liked. So then I, you know, when you're naming tracks, like, you know, I kind of often like, I don't really think like, I often just like name the track, like whatever it is that I happen to have been working on when I have to save it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I did a track, another track that Understated released called Pick and Click. And it was because like, I was like, just like picking drum beats and clicking on them. So I was like, well, I'm picking and clicking. So it's pick and click, you know?
Amazing.
And then like, so this is like, and this one I was like, I must have been like playing around with like a million different shakers before I found one that I liked. So this track is called Shaker Maker. That's it.
Right, let's play it. And someone's actually, before I play it, someone actually asked what we're drinking. So I'm on the tea. You're on the...
I'm on the coffee.
Being in America.
And this mug actually is, I don't know if you can see it. This is it's from Omega Mart, which is part of an art exhibit in Vegas by
Sick.
Meow Wolf. It's an interactive art exhibit. If you find yourself in Vegas, I 100% recommend that you go and spend a few hours at the Meow Wolf Omega Mart art exhibit. It's a trip.
Cool. I want to see that. That's cool.
I have nothing to do with it. I don't get on. I just something that inspired me. It's really cool.
Let's play this track. So this is Shaker Maker. Let's play this. Let's go for it. There we go. Holy moly. Right. On a Mondays, on demo streams on a Monday, we do demo feedbacks every Monday. My regulars will know this. Gang, are we giving it the horn or are we giving it the Hulk? Basically, every Monday, if we get some tracks we really love, we either give it the... or we give it the...
Hulk! Smash!
So, if you love the Hulk, if you loved it, give me the Hulks in the chat. Yeah, give it the whole and the horn. Well, it's just had both. We loved it. That was great, mate. I love those little vocal chops. They were sick.
Thank you. Just so you know, like the Hobbs collab is real because he's already given me notes. Now he's heard it. He's already texting me notes.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Very cool though. Really nice groove, dude. Really nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
Loads of good comments. Loads of amazing comments in the chat. So good. Yemen, Charlie, Cuss, good. God, that drop. Yeah, loads of people loving it. Loads of fire emojis. Oh, thanks for your lovely comments. Is Sam's music on Spotify? Yeah, so he's under Roukin on Spotify.
Yeah, musically, I just go by my last name.
This needs to be released ASAP? So you were saying this is still early stages for this.
Yeah, it's not even gone for a mix down yet. And there's still like some bits I want to sort out. But I've been there's probably about 5 or 6 tracks that are very, very close like this. Yeah, we'll see. Like I'm sure they'll find a home and we'll figure it out. But I don't know, I'm in a very kind of like being very inspired by like different percussion that I haven't worked with before, and sort of getting back for me, like just getting back to rhythms, you know. And so I don't know, and I love that. I love all the techier kind of fusion with that, you know.
Are you back DJing now as well? I'm guessing the kind of Call of Duty took a lot of time, a lot of space in your life, and then the kind of music had to stop for a little bit, and now we're kind of through that. We're back into.
I think, and also, you know, we went through a pandemic, didn't we? When the pandemic happened, you know, I had a residency at, like prior to that, I was a resident at Avalon in Hollywood, you know, playing there, you know, every month. And then the pandemic happened and everything shut down. And so everything stopped and we were all at home again. And then I got really, really busy doing the other stuff. And so, and doing Call of Duty and I, you know, I made 2 movies last year as well. And it's been busy. So it hasn't really like lent itself to gigging, and I'm okay with it because, you know, my experience over the years has been like the gigs kind of like come and go. Right. But the constant is the music. And like, so I've been talking to a couple of people about, you know, putting some things together. So I think like in the new year, I'll have some like announcements about that. But
sick.
It'd be I'm really excited to, you know, play some music out again.
That'd be cool. So anyone that's watching it and it was into that music, go and follow him on socials. And it's all just one social for across both, isn't it? For both movies and acting and DJing, it's all one place.
Yeah, it's all in one place. Yeah.
Let's talk next year. You mentioned you got movies coming. What can you talk about them?
Yeah, so I did a movie called Canvas, which is about the art world.
Nice.
And about like, you know, the cost of the what it means to be an artist and the hardships of that and whether it needs to be tough or not. So I play an American dad in the 80s who's raising 2 girls who are both like talented artists, and he puts them under a lot of pressure. So that's one of them. And then I did a film called All Souls, set in LA. I play an LAPD narcotics detective in that. And that's like a pretty, it's like a thriller really about this girl who's been made a confidential informant for the LAPD. It gets we've got and G-Eazy's in that, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool movie too. So we're waiting to find out when they're coming out, but they're in the can.
Cool.
They should be out next year sometime.
And then is there more Call of Duty? How's that looking for the next going forward? Don't know. See how it goes.
We'll see.
And then more music next year. Let's. I can't wait to hear more music, dude.
Yeah. I'll send you a few more bits after this.
Want to finish on one more?
Sure. What else is in there?
Well, the soiree that we released, that I actually released for you, we can finish on that. It's a nice place to play. Or we can play disco nights, which you did with Hobbs. You choose. The other guest.
Let's do disco nights. It's so nice.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Tell us about this track.
So yeah, this was part of the group of tracks that Hobbs and I made together, and we really wanted to, like, you know, we both love disco, and we love that kind of and we love, like, you know, both of us have like a catalog of disco samples, and just like we just have like a shared love of it, and so we wanted to kind of make our own version of that, and then this is just what came out. Yeah, this is one of the ones that came out, and I love all the elements in this track. I think it's like a really silky, like vibey track, and it sounds wicked on a loud system. This track. So
let's play this. Yeah. After this, I'm going to tell you about 130 disco, which is a whole genre we've started to make up.
Wow.
I'll tell you about it.
That's great.
Yeah, basically we've invented a genre, and I'm trying to make it happen. But I'll tell you about it after. Great. Right, let's play this. This is called Disco Nights. This is you and Hobbs, Roukin and Hobbs, Disco Nights. Let's play this. Wicked! I love those little squelches, dude. They're really nice.
Hobbs has got a box of them. A box of squelchy little stabs.
Wicked! That was so good. I love that track. Yeah. So basically, I was saying before, we've started making a whole new genre of music. It's called 130 disco. Basically, it's disco at 130 BPM, but with a kind of techno-y, thumpier beat. Me and Hobbs DJ'd in this festival called Mucky Weekender in the summer, and I was like, look, just pitch all the disc up to 130. It makes it so much fun because it's a bit more pumpy, a bit more dancey because it's just faster. But and it was like we literally were jumping around in this pirate ship. It was hilarious. So basically, we were trying to make all of our Discord get into 130 disco, and people have actually started making 130. CB Radio started making 130 disco, which is hilarious, but also great. So if you fancy a challenge, the new 130 challenge.
Yeah, more disco, always, all speeds. Sure.
Thank you firstly for doing this, dude. It's been so much fun. It's great to hear about it all, and great to hear about the journeys of all the acting, the Call of Duty, and the DJing. And I think you've got some new fans from the chat, from your music. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for your time today. It's been so much fun.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
You too, dude-yo. You too. If you found this interview interesting, consider giving it a like and a comment. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, and let me know your biggest takeaway below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch. I'm back on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and you can check out the schedule from the link below as well to see who's coming up in my interview series. I'll see you in the next Twitch stream or the next YouTube video. I'll see you soon. Bye.